My name's Jason Barkley. I'm the founder of a company called Open Therapeutics. This is my fifth startup, so I've been around the block a little bit, and I've actually had an exit along the way. So I've been a little bit on the lucky side of everything here. The goal here to Open Therapeutics is to take science and make it much more open than it currently is, particularly in underserved areas, economically developing areas such as Africa, Asia, and Latin America. And the mission is to create the world's biggest scientific think tank. And I was actually, before I decided, I was back and forth, should I talk about this innovation that we've developed with blockchain for grant funding, where we've taken grant funding, which is a very long and risky and expensive process. And we've condensed this down, taken a tremendous amount of risk out of it, taken a whole bunch of cost out of it, and shrunk the timeline dramatically. But it dawned on me that it might be a little bit outside the scope of where we are and what we're talking about here. So I thought actually Open Therapeutics and its utilization of the technologies might be a little bit of a better fit. So one of the things that we're doing in this formation of the biggest scientific think tank is that we're taking unused intellectual properties and crowdsourcing them. So there's approximately 4 trillion US dollars worth of unused intellectual properties sitting in portfolios in corporations, government, and academic institutions, just sitting there costing money, maintenance fees. The inventors are getting no value out of it. The organizations aren't getting any value out of it. So we have a little bit of like an Airbnb or a Lyft approach where we're going in and taking those unused, non-licensed assets and putting them on a platform and then bringing the global scientific community to rally around those intellectual properties and advance them. And that would solve a couple of problems. One of the biggest problems is that drug development in the West costs around 2.6 billion USD, takes about 12 years to get it done, and 93% of them fail. So this is a huge problem that we have in the West, and it then is translated into very high pharma drug prices because they have to make up for that tremendous $2.6 billion investment with that 93% failure rate over 12 years. So by taking many of these unused intellectual properties and crowdsourcing them, it gives us the opportunity to create an open source like environment that can drive those timelines and costs and risk downward. There's a third major problem that we're addressing, and that is the STEM employment rate, particularly in the West. STEM right now accounts for 6-7% of the US employment field. We're 18 million positions. But we, at any one time, have 2.5 to 3 million openings that we can't fill. And the growth right now of non-STEM is at 4%. But when you look at the growth of STEM itself, it's around 24%. So this has created a tremendous shortage in STEM positions that need to be filled. And we in the United States and Europe just don't create enough STEM talent to fill this huge need. So that means that there's a tremendous opportunity to fill those needs by bringing in the scientific community that's around the world in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. And so to give some numbers on that, the United States only produces 500,000 STEM degrees a year. China produces 5 million and India produces 3 million. So these are tremendous areas that we could tap into to bring talent into the global community, and they get some advantage out of it because they get seen, and if they get seen, they get the opportunity to be hired. So it's a little bit of a GitHub-like model. One of the things that we've fallen into with the COVID pandemic is that COVID has proven this thing we called open science. And open science is exactly what it sounds like. It's taking science, pulling it out of the silos, and making it available to the global scientific community. And so, for example, the genome of the COVID virus was released within 48 hours of its isolation by the Chinese. So they actually released that sequence. And so everything that's been done on the vaccine front all started because of that open approach of releasing that sequence. So when you look at open science and you look at taking this global scientific community, rallying around these unused intellectual properties, it changes the publishing model because it's all going to be in an open access model. The way information is distributed on a global basis. This open science collaborative platform is on the verge of launching. We actually was going to launch it on Monday, but we've moved it downstream a little bit, probably another week or so. But anybody can go to therapoid.net and pre-register today. And when we do launch, they'll get complimentary science coins, which are an ERC20 based token. And those will end up on exchanges, and anybody will be able to convert those into fiat wherever it is they seek to do that. We'll also be launching some NFTs, and we're actually doing that with Mariana. And those will probably be available, my guess is March, April timeframe. And that'll be a really nice use of science coins, is to be able to pick those up. We actually have a relationship with a very significant philanthropic foundation to accept science coins and then move those into charitable causes around the world. So we've got a really nice pipeline of things that these science coins tokens can be used for out in the world, beyond just being on an exchange and being able to convert into fiat. So that's kind of an overview of what we're doing. And thanks very much, Mariana, for the opportunity to put it out there.